Alright fam, it has been way too long since we have done a Play Like a Pro episode, and I couldn't be happier on who we are featuring today. His name is Rolex. Let's go. What's going on, guys? This is Riggs, and thank you so much for tuning in to the very next episode here in our Play Like a Pro series. We are featuring Rolex, and what better time than now considering the brand new season just started here in Season 19. So we are going to be talking about different ranking tips and tricks. We're going to ask him about his favorite loadout, what his favorite map to rank on is, what the hardest server is. So you're definitely going to want to stick around. We have featured him on the channel before in a much different format, though. We did have him in the reaction series. So in case you missed that episode, at the end of the video, make sure you guys go ahead and click the card up at the top to go ahead and check that out. I will also have his socials. I'll have his Twitter and his YouTube down in the description box. And of course, if you have not already, make sure you guys go ahead and drop a like, and of course subscribe to the channel if you have not already. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with a brief introduction. So first, he talks about his experience with the game. So he has been playing the game for 3 years and has been creating content on YouTube for about 2 years. He did start playing the game when it first released back in March of 2018. Specifically, he remembers that moment. He downloaded the game because he was on spring break as a sophomore at university. And for those of you that do not know, he did graduate last year with a bachelor's in biomed and a minor in chemistry. Straight up goated right there. He says his dream career as a kid to adulthood was to become a physician. He says, I never really planned to become a YouTuber. It was never something that I thought of doing or had ever planned. It just sort of all happened. Met the right person at the right place at the right time. I'm sure people know that person was Powerbank. He's been a mentor of mine from the beginning, and I can easily say I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for him. So shout out to PB. He says, since I've been playing PUBG Mobile from the beginning, that means I was one of the players who started playing since Season 1. I've been conquered 15 times out of 18 seasons. I also took on the challenge of playing on different servers to purposely make it more difficult with having higher ping. I started this challenge last year, and just in Season 17, finished the journey. Conquer an NA 10 times, South America 2 times, KRJP 1 time, Asia 1 time, and Europe server 1 time. He says, I believe I'm the only player at the moment in the world to have accomplished that. And of course, big thanks to the guys on the team for playing and helping out with that. Dude is always giving credit where credit is due. Not only shouting out the teammates that help him along this journey, but also a huge shout out to PB for helping him with that stepping stone to get where he is today. In Season 1, he was ranked 10 on the NA leaderboards for TPP squads. He says, I didn't play as much as others due to school, but leaderboard ranking wasn't a priority for me at the time since the game was just new and I was learning. As some may know, nobody in NA server hit Conquer or even Ace. We're talking about back in Season 1. So that means the highest rank was Crown. There was only 10 players who had Crown. I was the final player to get it. He says, I started playing professionally in 2018. There's also a big question people always ask about if or when he's going to go back to comp. So we'll go ahead and let you guys know what he says about that. He says, I started playing professionally in 2018 and have played for Lights Out, Cloud9, and Space Station Gaming. Won regionals 2 times, competed in global tournaments, and had tons of great experiences. But after graduation, I want to start to focus more on content creation as I saw more opportunities in that space. So for now, I took a break from competitive. Here's the little Easter egg. He says, not retired, just a break. So who knows what the future holds as far as Rolex going back into comp? Only time will tell. All right, so next question I asked him, and this was a huge favorite for a lot of people that watch this series, and that is, what is your favorite weapon loadout and why? He says favorite weapon loadout, of course, would have to be the M416. That's a given. And this is big because we know how meta this weapon is now, but he says, and either the Thompson for close range or the for sniping. Those two are usually my two favorite secondary weapons. For the M416, I go with the angled grip since I believe it's the most beneficial if you use gyroscope, which he does. For non-gyroscope users, vertical grip is a must. So take note for those of you that aren't playing gyro, throw on the vertical grip on your M4s. He says rest of attachments are pretty obvious, being comp and so on, tac stock. Next asked, what is your favorite map to rank on and why? His favorite map for ranking would have to be Erangel, as it's the OG map and also, in my opinion, the most well balanced. Asked him what his least favorite map. I wrote in the question the least favorite map to rank on. It was more just least favorite map to play, like the map that he likes the least. But he says he doesn't really have a least favorite map to rank on, but we all know that Sonok, Livik, and Karakin are third-party central. So if you're focused on rank, be careful when playing on those three maps. And of course, those three maps are the smallest. Now, this is a very interesting one. I said, might sound random, but do you ever get tired of winning? Do you wish you had more of a challenge? Do you get numb to it and just expect to win every single match? And I told him that I hope that makes sense. His response is, it's a good question. People usually see my stats and ask how I have a 90% win ratio even playing on foreign servers like Asia, EU, etc. He says that's one of the reasons I decided to start playing in other servers. One, I wanted to really find out for myself which server had the highest amount of top tier players. Number two, I wanted to have higher ping to make it more difficult because I didn't want to get burned out playing in NA. All right, next I asked him is the big question, what's the hardest server and why? And he says, this is a question that I talk about in one of my videos that I uploaded. The title is Conquer in 5 Servers World Record. If anybody wants to check it out and hear my thoughts on that, what I will do for you guys to make it nice and easy for you, if you haven't seen the video, I'll go ahead and leave a card up at the top right now. Make sure you guys go ahead and click on that once you get to the end of the video. And this was a fun question. I said, how would you sum up each server a sentence or less? He says NA, home; South America, chill; KRJP, iPad; Asia, fun, endgame; and he says EU, lag. Now the last question, I says, what are the 5 tips you'd give to someone trying to get better at the game? He says, if you're referring to someone playing professionally, the list of top 5 tips will be different than someone playing solo squads or someone playing casually, since tournaments are team oriented. He said, for those who would like to go professionally, my top 5 tips would be master your communication. Communication is key in this game, and you need to know how to tell your teammates what you see in a calm manner. Number 2, stay calm. See how they kind of link. He says you're going to be in hundreds of situations where you are under pressure, whether it be scrims, community events, or global tournaments. You can't let that pressure break you, but instead embrace it. Learning how to cope with stress is a huge skill that not many people have. Number 3, this is a big one. Be a team player. There will be times where you need to make last-minute decisions on what is best for the team, not what is best for you. We can sometimes confuse that with, I just need to stay alive. That's not always the best choice. Instead, sometimes sacrificing yourself benefits everyone else the most. For example, staying in the blue to hold the team off while your team finds a safe place in the circle. And of course, there's millions of different situations. Many times those extra few placements can make a difference. Number 4, he says, learn how to think like the enemy. In every situation you find yourself in, you should put yourself in the enemy's shoes and think, what would I do if I were them? Predicting their next moves are super critical. And then rounding it off with number 5, which is be persistent. There's going to be times where things just don't go your way, but you can't let that bring you down. Keep going and follow your dreams. And what is awesome is he's kind of taking us along that ride with him, not only with his content creation on YouTube, but of course with his live streams. He also does stream on Trovo and on Twitter, kind of taking us along this journey. Of course, we want to give a huge shout out to Rolex for not only taking the time in his super busy schedule to answer these questions for us. And at the end of the day, hoping that it benefits you guys. That's why we continue to do this series, to talk to these players, and of course content creators, to get you guys information that sometimes is not that easily obtainable. So again, Rolex, thank you again so much for answering the questions. If you guys enjoyed it and you haven't yet, make sure you guys go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and if for some strange ass reason you have not subscribed to Rolex, check out his socials down in the description box, and also in the comment section, let me know who you want to see featured next in the series. But that is going to do it. Again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Until the very next one, this has been Riggs from ŁØBx Gaming.